Here we're going to tie a fly called the Chubby Chernobyl. First thing I'm going to do is just get some thread started. I'm going to be tying a tan colored chubby, so I'm going to use a cream or a tan colored thread. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to tie in the tail, which is just going to be some pearl or some UV pearl crystal flash. I'm going to take a chunk of about a dozen strands or so. I'm just going to tie these strands down, and I kind of double over these strands so they don't come out. I'm just going to leave them hanging off the back of the hook, just like so. Next thing to do is dub the body. For that I'm going to use some tan UV ice dub. And this stuff can be a bit tricky to work with. It's a synthetic dubbing that is sometimes difficult to dub. So I just add it in small amounts to my thread here. Just get it started. And I'm just going to dub a generous body, a chubby, hence its name Chubby. You want it to be fairly bulky, so I'll go forward with just a nice thin layer and I'll kind of build it up as I come back again. And we're going to take it all the way up to the eye. And I just do this in chunks. You can use a dubbing loop if you so prefer. That is honestly sometimes easier with this synthetic dubbing. And I'm just going to build up the body as I work my way back. I'll kind of taper it at both ends here. Then I'm going to take my thread forward. It's about a third of the way up from the back. Now we're going to take a piece of 2mm foam. I'm going to cut a strip of foam that's about the width of the gap of the hook. And I just kind of eyeball it, just about the width. We're going to tie this in right on top of the fly here. I'm going to do so with a nice loose wrap, and I'll just kind of gradually tighten down. And I'll wrap back just a hair, give myself a little spot there to tie in my legs. For that, we're going to use a little bit of leg material called Lifeflex. I'm going to use a ginger or a tan color. We're going to tie a piece of Lifeflex in on each side of the hook here. Once I've got that tied in, trim them just a little bit just to keep them from getting a little squirrely on you. Now we're going to take some more ice dub, and we're just going to, or actually first I got to do the wing. Then we'll add the ice dub. For the wing, I'm just going to use material called McFlyfoam. It's a synthetic material, and you can use either white or tan. I'm going to use white. It's a little easier to see. I'm just going to tie this material right on top, right in the middle, and then I'm going to double it over. Wrap forward a little more here. Here we go. And I'll double it over. That way it all lays back. Now we're ready for a little more tan dubbing. We're going to add just enough to cover up that area of thread where we tied on the legs and the yarn. And then I'm going to keep a little bit on my thread. That way I can advance it forward. And I'll add a little bit more here, just so I can take my thread up to the top third of the fly. Once I get there, I'm just going to take my foam, do a couple of loose wraps here to lock it down, and I'll creep forward just a little bit here to give myself a spot to tie in my legs and my yarn. There we go. Now we're ready for another set of legs. Same thing, set on each side. There we go. I'll trim them just a little bit here. We'll add another strand of McFlyfoam. Just right on top of the shank. And double it over. There we go. Now we can finish off by adding the last bit of dubbing here to cover up that last segment. And then what we can do is jump our thread underneath here. Whip finish right behind the eye. And what we can do is trim our flash. We're going to trim it just to the length of the rear piece of foam. I'm going to trim my foam just a little bit here, and I'm going to trim the corners too, so I have some rounded corners. I'll do the same thing up here at the head. Trim it so I have some rounded edges. Doesn't have to be necessarily perfect. Some people can use foam cutters for this step if you want a nice perfect round head. Then we could trim our wings here. We're going to trim them just about the length of the body. You can take a brush if you want to fluff them all up. Then we'll trim our legs. We want our legs to be about the length of the shank of the hook. I usually just kind of eyeball it. There we go. That's all there is to a Chubby Chernobyl. Very effective fly in Montana. Imitates a hopper or stone fly. Floats very well. Tan UV dubbing. Catches the eye of hungry fish. That's all there is to the Chubby Chernobyl.